From the backstretch at Saratoga, this is Loose on the Lead with Steve Byk and Seth Merrow. Loose on the Lead is sponsored by Thoroughgraph. Everything you need to win. Visit Thoroughgraph.com. The new Colonial Downs and the Virginia Equine Alliance. Hill and Dale, home of perennial standouts, Curlin, Kitten's Joy, Midnight Loot, and emerging stallions, Violence, Iron, and Army Mule. Visit hillanddalefarms.com for consignments at the 2019 yearling sales. Case Supply, the kitchen and bath professionals across upstate New York. Showrooms in Syracuse, Auburn, and Amsterdam. Make your dream kitchen and bath a reality. Visit CaseSupplyInc.com. And McMahon of Saratoga, standing breakout stallion Central Banker. #1 in New York and among the nation's leading young sires. Visit McMahonThoroughbred.com.
A very good Sunday morning. Welcome to Loose on the Lead. Steve Byk along with Seth Merrow. And a little different, rather than some instant review of the week, we're going to dive right into yesterday's absolutely fabulous day. The Vandy, the Dandy, and the Bowling Green. And you want to talk about a Saratoga dandy? How about Louis Carvajal with Ray Mamone's Imperial Hint? Comes back to Saratoga and tears it up again. The first time in the history of this race course that a horse going 3/4 of a mile broke the 108 mark. 107.92, a 114 buyer, a repeat Vanderbilt win. Louis, congratulations.
Thank you, Steve. Amazing. It's hard to even talk about it. I still think I'm floating a little bit on that race. Amazing.
This horse, he's 6 years old now. You've had some ups and downs, and you've had to bring him back from a couple of challenges, some physical and then some travel issues. You had a very interesting exercise with him after Dubai, and let's jump into that before we watch the race and we talk about the specific effort, because he basically got a freshening down at Fair Hill, and it seems to have really been a big part of having him this ready for yesterday.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the shipping to Dubai over there is not as bad coming back. Coming back, it's a little longer, and lucky I'm a friend with Chad Summer. We had Minded Biscuits, and he told me, Louis, if you want to have a good horse for the rest of the season, you got to think about Fair Hill, send it to Bruce Jackson, and he'll do a great job. And I talked to Mr. Raymond Mamon, and he agreed with it. And when that horse came from Fair Hill, from Bruce, he looked like a tank. And I was like hysterically happy the way the horse looked when he came back. I said, well, it looks like I'm going to have a nice horse for the rest of the season, and everything went well.
Even take us back to the start of the season, because the performance at Tampa had to be alarming. I mean, he's a horse that's run fresh well. So bringing him back in that little $75,000 Pelican, and to have him as dull as he was, although it's a little unfair to, he did run into Killy Beg's captain, who's been in great form with John Terranova. So he did get beat by a real horse. But you had to be a little unnerved.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I went to that race. He was training super, like he always does. He worked some bullet works. Antonio Gallardo worked his horse, and he worked great, like always does. So I was expecting to see a good race, like always does, and especially at Tampa, he likes that track too. And see him dropping back and not get into it, and I got worried. Of course, we came back, we look at the horse, everything looks fine. Into the following day, he had heat on the foot, and it looks like it was a bruise, and that was kind of an excuse, because I have no excuse at all. It was like a really one of those days that you worry about if he's already done or something. But I think that was a major problem. He was not comfortable running that day. Something happened, or it was before the race. We couldn't catch him in time.
He only had basically 5.5 weeks to get ready for Dubai. I mean, were you ever questionable about going?
No, of course we did. I mean, I talked to, luckily, My friend Dr. Chip Johnson, we're friends for a long time. We looked this horse and it was a concern if it was going to be the horse was going to be healthy to Chip, and we worked with the horse. We did many things to get him right, and luckily we did, and that's where we made a decision with my mom and the vet, and we went to Dubai.
Well, good third in Dubai, wasn't getting to XY Jet, but ran a very credible race in the Golden Shaheen. Now you come back, you take that freshening exercise, the spa treatments down at Fair Hill, and you come back to Saratoga and repeat as the Vanderbilt winner, and talk about yesterday's effort, what you were expecting, knowing that Vitoli was going to be the horse to beat, and you were going to have to run probably a career best to beat him.
Oh yeah. Well, we were not sure. I wasn't sure if we were going to try to run in the Vanderbilt or the Tail of the Cat. We talked it over with Mr. Mamon, and we decided to run the Vanderbilt. He said it to me. He said he had a good feeling to running on the Vanderbilt, so that's what we're here for, the Vanderbilt.
And from what I read yesterday, you missed a workout last week at Monmouth.
Yes, we did, because of the track. It was sloppy, and unfortunately I couldn't work them, but
Didn't seem to be a negative, as we're seeing here. How long did it take you to realize this was a track record?
Just a couple of minutes. I hear I saw a time somebody said that it was track record, and then I pay attention to it, because you don't go and the first thing you see, oh, I broke the track record, look how fast it went. That comes next. You know, you're just trying to take in that race right now, and then you look at that, and it was that was amazing.
Well, and you are and have been consistently just in awe of what this horse has done. He's a small horse, for starters. He's not a big, physically imposing type.
He looks bigger today.
Well, he's always as he has another grade 1. But he has done nothing but keep the best company now for 3 years. And you're going to go back to the Breeders' Cup, obviously. He's been second and third in it the last 2 years. First time, right? Because he didn't run in it at Santa Anita.
It was at Del Mar the first time.
Del Mar.
He finished second against Roy H. And then at Churchill, which unfortunately the little rocket doesn't like Churchill that much.
Not so much, but he certainly didn't run badly. The opportunity to go to Santa Anita, you would feel like this might be of the 3 Breeders' Cups, this might be the right, maybe the most advantageous strip for him. Running over, certainly down at Monmouth, I know that the former trainer that's doing the grounds, Bill.
What's his name?
He had a good sprinter too. We used to talk to all the time. Former Bill Anderson.
Billy Anderson.
Bill Anderson does the track, and Monmouth is a heavy. It's been. I know some trainers have actually even been a little unhappy over since Bill took over, because he keeps it a little slower than
usually. Yeah, it used to be a very speedy track, but Billy is doing a great job. I mean, he has a good cushion track, and I would stay well Park, which my horses used to love training at parks. He always stayed well on that, then moving to Monmouth Park, and he does handle it very well now. And the track, like I say, it's good. He worked last week. He was worried that it worked, because this is a horse he worked with 59 and change for 5/8.
Absolutely.
When I saw that work a minute and 2/5, I was a little worried. And that's why I said I was a little worried. But
it was still a bullet.
Yeah. But and then I called the clockers, and I said, I know that I have my clock. I got my stopwatch 47 for half a mile. I said, he works in 59 a hand. I said, oh, you said a minute, but I said, no, Louis, we got him a minute, but Carvajal in a minute. Oh, I said, okay, now I understand.
Oh, so they gave him a 5 furlong work.
Yeah. So it was a Carvajal. So I probably worked it faster than that. So I was happy. You always worry, being a trainer, coming up from Dubai, months without running, you always think that you might be not quite as sharp like you need to be, because for this race in the Vanderbilt, running against Asmussen, Mitole, you need to be sharp, and you need to be fit enough, and so you always have that in your back of your mind if it's ready or not.
Let's pull up last year's Vanderbilt, because that was your first grade 1 win, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you come first grade 1 win. Again, Imperial Hint's going to be the number 4 here last year, and wins by a chart margin of 3 3/4 last year. So your first grade 1 at Saratoga. Do you get a sense when he comes up here, is he kind of a horse for a course? Does he appreciate the atmosphere up here?
Well, last year when we came, we didn't know how he was going to take these tracks, and the way he did it, I was like,
Look at him.
yeah.
This is
It's
unbelievable.
like a replay
Of yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
for him to drown these horses the way he did, and this is Castellano the same way as yesterday,
Yeah.
just in hand. And he came up to them. It wasn't like he was, really being implored. He basically cruised up to the leaders, went on by. And so for him to break the 108 mark, and these are records. For those that haven't seen the specifics, Spanish Riddle goes back to 1972 when they didn't have hundredths of a second, so it was a 108 flat, and then Speightstown winning the Vanderbilt himself, Speightstown in 108.04. So they shared the record because there was no hundredths for Spanish Riddle. These are old records, and they run a fair amount of races at 3/4 of a mile here, and a couple of grade 1s every summer. This is one of the great all-time performances in Saratoga history.
Yeah, it's going to go down certainly this year as maybe the top performance of 2019.
No, that's great. I mean, for me, we have a small stable. This is one of the greatest moments. And like I say again, I told you already, coming back to the winner's circle and hear all these fans and people cheering for him. My family being here, and it just, it's great to see the people into it. I got so many tweeters, people call him the little Rocket Man, and it's like, you have fun, and we need more people like this. It feels good.
That is worth mentioning. They brought the horse back, they ponied the horse back right in front of the clubhouse and the grandstand, and there was a lot of applause, because I think people realize track record, and as you say, that had been a track record for a long time. I think they really appreciated the performance.
They did.
Well, and we also should talk about how popular you are and how happy people are that are, I don't want to call them insiders, but people that are stakeholders and close to the game. Sean Clancy, as we were waiting, was talking about you and he in the hot box. You both had one mount one afternoon at Philly. You last year when this horse emerged, the outpouring of excitement and pleasure for you and for Mr. Mamon, for Ray, who couldn't be here. He's okay. Is he okay?
No, it's fine. It's
All right.
just, it's that trip over here is a little tiring,
For sure.
and I think it was more comfortable for him to be close to his house and go watch this race. And I talked to him after the race, and I said, I wish you were here so you could see this. Last year it was our first grade 1 with this horse, but this year it was a little different. He should have been here, but I talked to him this morning and let him know how the horse came back, and it looks good. He eats really good. His dinner. And first time I called him and I told him, and he was happy. He was just still like celebrating probably back home.
He's now 13 for 22, and he's a $2 million earner.
Yes, sir.
And I guess it's worth mentioning, he's not only is he Imperialism's best son, he's always going to be forever. They say that every stallion gets at least one good horse, and Imperialism, he's gotten a couple, but not like Imperial Hint, and it's unbelievable. And he is an entire horse. This is not a gelding that that is continuing to just pluck along like some older sprinters. I mean, he's going to go to stud somewhere.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, I was talking today to Mr. Brocklebank. He did ride that horse. What's it called? That thing, dancing. And I think he's a great grandsire of my horse. And he has, and they just look like it. If you put a picture of that thing and put a picture of Imperial Hint, they're about the same size.
Yeah.
I think that thing was 15-1, and they just look like it. So it's some pedigree there, and I just hopefully will find a good home for him when he becomes stallion.
Well, and not to make specific suggestions, but you got to think between the success in New York and the fact that your Jersey base, as is Ray, the resurgence of New Jersey racing and the new stability that we're going to see in New Jersey, a place like New Jersey might be a good place. There's going to be a lot of mares brought in, or some sort of a regional, you would think, a regional stallion opportunity awaits him, although I imagine that Mr. Mamone is having a lot of fun, watching him run.
Oh, of course. I think if the horses stay sound and he keep performing the way it is, you always look forward so he can compete. Most of the time we wanted to keep competing with these horses when they come 4, 5, hopefully into 6, but when they have a good blow line behind them, of course, you want to retirement early because it's a lot of money involved. But this is good. People, you have a little fan there, and then they get to see him next year and next year.
Exactly.
It's good.
Plot your course to the Breeders' Cup, and I'm just going to assume you'll try to win the Vosburg again and head to California.
We're going to try to follow the same path we did last year, so hopefully we'll go back to Belmont and run a bar race and hopefully the Breeders' Cup.
Got to also fold in Javier. Not that, no knock on Antonio Gallardo and Jose Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
However, and certainly Pimentel when he rode him early in his career, but he and Javier clearly have a certain touch together.
Of course, it's like they become one. The first time I tried to put Javier on this horse, I was in Phillip Park, and I called his agent and I said, I have this horse. It's a nice horse. I want to run him in the allowance race. It's Derby Day in Pennsylvania. Can you ride my horse? And he said, well, let me talk to Javier. What's your name? Carvajal, but so he then ride my horse and he won. And since then, because Javier is tiny, it fits right on the horse.
Yeah.
So it's like they come one. It rides him great, and so I was glad to have Javier back and this horse too. Jose's a great rider. Antonio too. He
No doubt
on the horse. So we were okay.
I will say, I printed up a chart today, and there you are, track record on the chart, and so his name will be around. Given what we saw with Spanish Riddle, as they print up the chart and the program for many years, I assume Imperial Hint will be in there.
I talked to my wife Janina, and I said the same thing. I said, this is great, he won, but now every time you open the program, we're going to see Imperial Hint. It's my name, Mr. Mamon. This is great. I hope it stays there for a while so we can come back, and every time he'll be there. My name and Imperial Hint will be stamped here. So I told him.
Well, it's certainly in the history of this racetrack, and I'm just trying to think about repeat Vanderbilt winners alone. I think there's because I was looking at it yesterday, and yesterday I sent out a tweet early in the morning. This race was originally created in 1985 for a phenomenon, which was a terrific sprinter that went wrong the year before in the Forego with Angel, and Angel Penna trained a phenomenon, and in 2000 they renamed it for Alf Vanderbilt. But a phenomenon himself was a scary good sprinter, and I'm sort of I always, when this race rolls around, I'm not a big fan of renaming races. When you have a generic race like the Belmont Sprint Championship, which was renamed for John Nehru, you're not paving over anybody's memory when you change the Belmont Sprint Championship to the John Nehru. But when you change the A Phenomenon to the Vanderbilt, you're sort of forgetting the reason the race was created,
right,
which was to honor the horse in question. The same thing down at Laurel. Pimlico, what they did with the Hirsch Jacobs, and they renamed it the Chick Lang. You want to name a race for Chick Lang? Create a race for Chick Lang. Don't pave over the memory of Hirsch Jacobs. So A Phenomenon was remembered a little bit yesterday, and he was a lot like Imperial Hint. There were some similarities.
I just came up with a list here, and other than the first 2 years, there was a horse Cognizant that won the first 2 runnings, but this is the only other repeat winner in the Vanderbilt.
There you go.
Great. That's great. More stuff on the books.
Exactly.
Louis Carvajal and the Imperial Hint story as a Vanderbilt repeat, A Vosburg repeat try is in the offing as well, another historic race, and then a Breeders' Cup sprint try, and maybe you're like Kona Gold. It took Kona Gold to his 4th try, but he finished 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then won. So you finish 2nd, 3rd, you got to win.
I hope so. You know, we just got to keep faith and positive thinking, and we go from there, you know.
Keeping them healthy and happy.
Healthy,
Absolutely. Louis Carvajal, and you can follow Louis on Twitter, Carvajal Racing.
Vow to honor, yes, sir.
That's right. Not Carvajal Racing, Vow to Honor.
Yes,
I
sir.
love it. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we've got a little bit of review to do, and we've got visits from Dean Reeves and Randy Hill. We'll talk about tax, winning a wild Jim Dandy, a little of everything going on. We'll talk about the dead rail as well, and some kind of lost wanderers, some jocks. You were a jock. How quickly were you aware of dead rails?
No, not really.
You go once in a while? Well, Philadelphia, when you're in Philly, nobody rides the rail.
No, nobody. Every time Meadows
Go
right
on.
there, yes, sir.
Back after this, Loose on the Lead.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Welcome back to Loose on the Lead, Sunday morning, live from the Saratoga Batch Stretch. Steve Byk, Seth Merrow, and before we go any further, I have to compliment you. Nice jack.
Thank you. Thank you. There's not going to be sack of sport coats. Just FYI. Sack of ties is one thing.
I'm thinking I'm not fitting into your sport coat anyway. So the ties, yes. The sport coat, I'm thinking that wouldn't work either way.
Tina, I'm sure Tina is watching. This was Tina combing the internet.
So when I compliment that she's home gloating now?
Yes, she's gloating anyway.
Very good.
She takes credit for anything that happens to me that's good, anything, if I ever look good at a certain moment, it's all Tina. If I do something silly, stupid, ridiculous,
It's all you.
all me.
Very good. All right, so we jump into yesterday. And I don't know which one did I have first. I called up a couple of replays, and one of them was, I had the Bowling Green from yesterday,
Bowling Green
but then I had the curling from Friday as well, so we'll watch both of those.
Okay.
I called for the Bowling Green first. I like Chinook underneath, but I had it to kick off a pick 3. I didn't like tax enough to continue the pick. My picks this meet have just something in the middle of every one gets me. But I will say I always kind of take a wait and see with the horses from South America. But Ya Primo, pretty good. The 3 North there on the rail, who actually goes by Channel Cat a couple of times. Channel Cat goes back on him a couple of times.
Yep.
Arklow, the number 1 horse, who I like, makes a nice late run to just nip Channel Maker for 3rd. But boy, that was a gutsy performance from Channel Cat. As I say, you don't see him come back too often once, but he did it twice in the stretch.
Talked and listened to Todd Fletcher afterward. This is a really, really venerable type of horse now.
Yeah.
He's tractable. He can, he took the lead here. And how about a little tip of the cap to Luis Saez? And let me just look at. I don't know if I've got. Do I have Friday? Was it on Friday with Bo Bell maybe? I think it was. I think it was Friday with Bo Bell. I think it was on Wednesday with Rinaldi. He did it for us, for our horses. Williams Lucky Gray twice and Pretension once. He goes to the front with horses that have any bit of tractability and tactical speed. If he senses that the rest of the colony is asleep at the switch when the gates open, Saez grabs them by the throat and he holds them off, and then he invariably, a couple of different times, going into the turn, he'll start to sprint away, and all of a sudden everybody's desperate. And then he'll maybe lull them, and then he does it again at the top of the stretch, and everybody is gutted. He is unbelievably good. We talked about him last week. Saez is just riding at the highest level right now, and with this type of a horse, this was a brilliant maneuver, and when that 115 went up, you knew that this horse had a chance to go coast to coast. And in the meantime, when you got a field of 13, you got to figure that 5 or 6 horses that would be normal competitors are just not going to get there by virtue of traffic, including Sadler's Joy. I like Sadler's Joy coming into this, even off the layoff, and Castellano had plenty of horse, but had nowhere to go. And that's what's going to happen when you got a big, bulky field. So unless you were in position to make a run, and, certainly Channel Maker and Yo Primo and others made those runs, but boy, oh boy, Channel Cat showing that English Channel determination. And anybody with an English Channel, send it to Todd. Todd has got a bunch of these ever since Channel Maker, English Channel, and continues to just get a lot out of them. He sort of is in tune with their aptitudes. Now, I thought this was really impressive. Career best 102 buyer. Speed figures don't mean as much on turf races, but it's still notable.
He hadn't fired a triple digit.
No, that's his first. That's his first.
And he was kind of a little bit, like I said, I had him at the bottom of my mix, but I thought he was live certainly at the price, but certainly had to improve a little bit given what we've seen earlier this year, but did yesterday look really good in that bowling green. And while you were talking, I pulled up the current jockey stats. Jose Ortiz on top with 18, Luis Saez second with 14, and Castellano 13, a couple down there at 10 in the 4th and 5th positions. I'd rather Ortiz and Jones are actually tied for 4th. Saez going to be second currently. All right, let's go back to Friday and look at the curling, because clearly that'll play into the Travers a little bit later on. I like looking at Bikinis. Looking at Bikinis is going to wind up 3rd, took the lead early, could not hold on though. Looking at Bikinis is the 3 horse, as the even money favorite. Endorsed ran really well for Kieran, the number 7 horse, but the winner is number 8, Highest Honors. The other Chad Brown horse, he trained looking at Bikinis, but also trains Highest Honors. 3rd career start for this one. Nice win Friday in the curling. Wins by a chart margin of a length and a quarter of 4-1. As I say, the number 7 Endorsed is right there until late. Just gets a little tired perhaps at the end of this one at 8-1, but I thought it was a good run from that one as well. Looking at Bikinis running 3rd, but Highest Honors now with only 3 career starts heads into the Travers with a little momentum with a win over the track.
Well, and this is a horse that there was plenty of upside. In fact, Jay Pridman on Friday on the radio, Jay kind of singled him out and felt that even more so than looking at Bikinis, that he thought Highest Honors was the danger and the horse that had the most upside. 94 buyer in here for Highest Honors, so he's flirting with the right neighborhood heading toward Travers. The elite horses, and obviously we'll save the conversation for the Jim Dandy for Dean Reeves and for Randy Hill. But that the low mid 90s is making you competitive, but it's going to take a triple-digit fig to win the Travers, and probably a 102 to 105 range kind of a figure, because there's just a few horses that are already established at that level. But Highest Honor is certainly moving in the right direction. And looking at bikinis, looked like he was pedaling backwards on the turn, and he was, in fact, I think Larry Comas even said dropping anchor or packing it in. And the next thing you knew, he kind of re-rallied and stayed on. Might have gotten a little lost on the turn. That happens with horses that are making that transition from elongated sprints, one-turn miles, etc., to two turns. So impressive all around. And I thought it was a fun race. Endorsed was a horse I didn't really know what. I know he was bred to the two-turn, but I wasn't convinced that he was. That he was right.
Looked good though, I thought.
Yeah, he looked fine.
The first way around two turns, so they benefit from that education. Anything else you want to hit on before we head to another break?
Smithwick on Thursday.
Oh, my man got back in the winner's circle. I like Winston C.
Winston C. and took a lot of money, actually. Went off.
I was shocked.
To pull an Andy Serling line, they knew. And how often do we say that about a steeplechase, mojo horse? But Winston C. was indeed the mojo horse, paid $870. But the actual favorite was Bedrock, the Leslie Young first-time North America, and of course she had won on Wednesday. She had won the Kaiser with a first-time North America. But Winston C. and Tom Garner overpowered that field. This was a very impressive win. Very happy for Jonathan Shepard always. That was really entertaining, and the steeplechase season really off to a great start. The three races so far. Only getting 8 of them this year, and Bill Gallo, full fields and very competitive.
That was one of the nice. That was as full of a field as you see in one of those races over in Syracuse.
Well, Sean Clancy said that he can't remember the last time he saw an also eligible in a chase stake. Should also mention, for those of you that aren't keeping close tabs on it, late Thursday evening, the circuit court judge in San Diego basically made his judgment for Jerry Hollendorfer, and then in the formal hearing on Friday, dotted the I's and stamped the T's. Hollendorfer expected back on the grounds as of this morning at Del Mar, and this is a win for anybody that believes in due process. Even though I know people say, well, the racetrack, the due process. I'm sorry. You can be as critical of Jerry Hollendorfer and the fact that he had a spate of fatalities over the winter. That was not the proper way to handle it, and we'll see where things go from here. And I know Hollendorfer very appreciative of what's transpired, as is the CTT, Darrell Vienna, the longtime trainer who's now a full-time attorney. He was always an attorney while he was a trainer, but now full-time. And the CTT joining Hollendorfer in the injunction suit. So for those of you that have not really been following it, not sure how many horses Hollendorfer will be able to reacquire right now, and how many horses Dan Ward, his longtime assistant, before that a Bobby Frankel assistant, and one of the most respected assistant horsemen of his kind anywhere in the country, Dan Ward getting a chance with some of the owners, including Michael Stinson, and we'll see. I saw Larry Best yesterday as we were leaving the racetrack, and we'll see what Larry Best is going to do. Certainly, this injunction and the result of it only deals with Del Mar for now. The next step, of course, will be going after the Stronach Group and trying to correct that wrong for the Santa Anita autumn meet. So we'll see where things go and how many horses that Jerry is able to reacquire. But from my point of view, this was the absolute right thing, and just very glad that Jerry's going to get a chance. And some people say, well, maybe he's learned a lesson. he's 73 years old, and he certainly hadn't had a record of fatalities that was garish, or considering the volume of starters that he has, does not have a disproportionate amount of incidents. And so to single him out was really an injustice. So
victim of circumstances.
yeah. Well, and also of convenience for the Stronach group, who has done everything in their power from the start of this, going back to about February, to basically try to shield themselves and deflect responsibility.
Before we go to the break, just changing gears a little bit, because you mentioned Daryl Vienna, a lawyer trainer. I had Orlando Noda on the show a couple of days ago.
The Noda brothers.
Who won with his first Saratoga starter with T-Loves to fight. Then the afternoon, I had him on in the morning talking about GT Sonia, a horse he bred. And he said, well, if that one doesn't win by 3, I don't know what. And she goes out and wins, so he was 2 for 2. But his pre-training career, he was a shrimp fisherman.
I like it.
Owned a fleet. Went out and then he said, hey, I want to get back in the game, sold my fleet, got back into the training.
And I'm looking, we followed each other on Twitter, and I'm looking forward to talking to him, because as a food broker, I represented a company called Rice Road, and the chairman was a guy by the name of Shun Noda. And I mean, listen, I'm sure there's clans, and I don't know how common a name Noda is, but I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Nice young guy to do on the training scene. All right, we'll take a break. Pete Fornatale is here. I don't know whether our other two are here yet, but we'll come back from the break. Be a surprise for you. Be a surprise for us too. Stay tuned. Loose on the Lead continues.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the Capital Region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
You like free money? Well, Capital OTB gives its players plenty of opportunities to cash in. At Capital OTB, there are so many ways for horse players to receive bonus dollars by simply participating in promotions such as our bankrolls, bounty bets, online handicapping contests, and much, much more. Plus, with Capital OTB's Player Rewards program, you get actual cash back. So what are you waiting for? Log on today at CapitalOTB.com or CapitalOTBBet.com and claim your free money.
We're back on Loose on the Lead, and happy to always say hello to the one and only Peter Thomas Fornatale. Good morning.
With pictures this time, Steve. We used to talk to you every Tuesday now, and but it's good to have the visuals.
It's a video. That's true. So that's
it's my video debut with you.
I guess that's so. No, you've been on the show with us over the years. No, never.
On phone, but never in person, sitting here.
I've had you.
I'm a regular with this man, but this is the first time I've been elevated to the ranks of having my two favorite Capital OTB hosts.
Well, and so for those of you that are at the races listeners and haven't seen Pete, now you know what I'm talking about being the king of the Brooklyn hipsters. It's the replete everything. It's the complete package.
Usually dressing up for me means a clean t-shirt, but between the PDJF event tonight over at Vapor Nightclub and this upcoming TRF Gumbo for Horses event on Tuesday, I'm bringing the fashion. I'm not going to let you show me up anymore with your sartorial splendor, you two.
Well,
whoa.
I knew that wasn't going to go far.
You two?
Well, I didn't want to insult Seth. He's sitting right here.
Two as in also?
He looks weather's very nice today. We gotta give him that.
Where's your tie, by the way?
It's warm today, so there have been a few mornings this year where I've gone a little casual, slightly casual.
This is what I got to deal with. 10 years plus of this.
And also, I haven't had a good replenishment of my time.
Now you're all right. Tina's been telling me do not foist sack of ties on him during the summer, but now I will.
I got to replenish.
Next Sunday.
I got to replenish. Oh, and last night, you make fun of my car. Last night there was a sobriety checkpoint out by my house, and so they're checking the car. And they come to me, and the guy comes to me, "Hey, where you been?" And I just been to dinner. So I was at dinner, and he flashes the flashlight in the back car. He goes, "Wow, a lot of clothes back there." I said, "Yeah, well."
I'll give you. This is one you can appreciate. I'll give you a sobriety checkpoint story. It's my go-to. Can't miss in Montreal when I was living in Montreal, and myself and a friend and another couple, and we're at my apartment, downtown, and we're little prequel, little pre-action before we go to Saint Laurent. So now we're cutting across Dr. Penfield, which goes across the McGill campus and basically takes you from one side of town more east over to Saint Laurent. So they got a sobriety checkpoint. Big French Canadian cop leans in the window. Too drunk to drive? I said, not yet. Guy starts to laugh. He's going to have fun. Have a good night. Be careful. Not yet.
That's good.
Maybe later. Not yet. Talk about what's going on. PDJF across the country raising awareness and money for the 60-plus permanently disabled jocks.
Tonight, Vapor Nightclub. This is part of the East Coast, West Coast Jockey Karaoke. Tickets still available. You can come down to Vapor Nightclub. It's starting basically right at the end of the race. So you go right from here to over there. My professional role tonight is helping out with the pregame show. I'm going to be doing some updates on Facebook Live. You can get all the information, pdjf.org. And it's going to be a great night. It's always a lot of fun over there. And then Tuesday night, coming right back, my other favorite equine-related charity, Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. Very proud to be an ambassador for them. We're doing the Gumbo for Horses event. Hattie's Classic Gumbo going to be there. Racing City Brewery is the place, and you can get tickets in advance. trfinc.org/players. You can also get them at the door, a little more expensive at the door, but going to be a lot of fun. It's good to be up here and betting horses and having fun and doing media hits, but it's also fun to do some work for these important charities that help keep the game going in terms of finding homes for horses and helping out the riders whose careers are over and need the support and assistance. So it's going to be a fun few days, and it's great to kick it off talking with you guys.
Capital OTB sponsor also of Gumbo for Horses, so I'm over. I'm there. I'm
Excellent.
in for the Gumbo.
Excellent.
The Jockey Karaoke tonight, if you've never been, it's so ridiculous and preposterous.
Nice with the simulcast. It should double the fun.
Yeah. It should be a lot of fun. So head over there if you can. And if you're listening to this after the fact, bdjf.org. Or, if you want to help horses, trfinc.org. And you got the hay drive, the hay bale drive. You can do very, automatic by phone. You can contribute. It's painless, and it goes to a good cause. And every dollar on all of these areas really are invaluable, no doubt.
That's right. A great list of upcoming events also at the TRF website. They're doing an open barn event on Monday night as well. There's lots of ways to get in on these events and the fun. And as Steve says, the donations themselves, obviously, that's what it's all about. So even if you can't make it and you want to help out, you're not limited. And as for Jockey Karaoke, the clips, if you can't make it, if you can't follow along live, there'll be a lot in terms of clips via that Facebook Live feed, and I'm sure we'll get them sent out around Twitter as well. Curious to see who the big winners and losers are, not just on the racetrack today at Saratoga, but also singing tonight over at Vegas.
I had Dylan Davis on Friday. I said, "You going to sing?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You rehearse it all?" He said, "No." But some of those guys take it seriously. There's usually a couple of them that are like, "Oh, they're pretty good."
Well, they all have their own specialty. Like when it comes to the foot race, Luis Saez, although who was the bug? There was a bug boy a year or two ago.
Oh, you're right.
Bug boy that just absolutely was Angel Cruz.
Could have been. Yeah, you're right.
Angel Cruz, it was like an Olympic effort. I mean, he distanced them, but there's so many nice events around the country, Midwest. And Nancy LaSala, we should point out too. Nancy works year-round with the PDJF and does just a phenomenal job. So do what you can. Pete, what about your usual hijinks and antics?
We've been pretty well behaved, actually, at the Paddock Bar. Sort of surprisingly.
It's early yet.
Yeah, the extra time in the meet. We'll ramp up as things go on. There'll be boozy milkshakes before it's all said and done.
That's Tina. That's the boozy milkshake Barbie.
My betting results so far haven't warranted the boozy milkshake, but we'll get there.
I also know our colleague, you and a whole group, there's the double header that comes up a little bit later in the season, so folks may see across the street playing the horses as well.
Oh, absolutely. The Degenerate Doubleheader, an annual event, a weekly or daily event for some up in these parts. For us, we try to make a big thing out of it, though, one time a meet. That'll be happening. We haven't settled on the date yet. It's usually the Wednesday of Alabama or of Travers Week. Get a chance to get together with a whole crew, bring in some new people who aren't in the day-to-day goings-on over at the Paddock Bar, and maybe we'll see you guys this year.
That'd be fun. Wow.
I usually show up for a couple of races over there.
That's right in your
exactly
right in your wheelhouse.
Exactly. Degenerate double header. You're
last week, right? You had the big simulcast that you did. Didn't you do a couple of live hits from the harness track?
Well, last month.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night we're at Yonkers live. So there you go.
You're kidding?
No. We're going down live from Yonkers tomorrow night.
Awesome.
Unbelievable. He's amazing.
Indefatigable.
That's it. Wear a tie. Speaking of doubleheaders, we got the doubleheader that is one of the great entries now in and around racing. Randy Hill and Dean Reeves. Another win, taxed yesterday, Danny Gargan, and one of the great claim stories that continues to evolve. We're going to take a break. We'll come back, and we will go as long as they allow us with Dean Reeves and Randy Hill next on Loose on the Lead. Stay with us.
It's been home to some of the sport's biggest moments, monumental achievements, and extraordinary records. At Santa Anita, we'll set another before the first gate even opens, as the Breeders' Cup returns for a record 10th time. This November, the stars will shine, champions will be crowned, and when the unbelievable happens, you'll want to be there to see it. The Breeders' Cup World Championships.
Visit Rivers Casino and Resort, the Capital Region's only destination for live table game action and the hottest new slots paying out millions. And they're off. Horse betting is now at Rivers Casino and Resort with Capital off-track betting terminals and live tellers located just off the gaming floor at Van Slyck's. Get in on all the action at Rivers Casino and Resort.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. You'll get live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform, and best of all, you get track prices. CapitalOTBBet.com. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
We're back on Loose on the Lead, and I don't want to say we saved the best for last, but we certainly saved the most ebullient and deliriously happy for last, because the ownership tandem that was born in the boxes at Saratoga.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's where it all happened, and it has brought together two of the most respected and appreciated ownership couples in the game, in the Hills and the Reeves. And I do not know of anybody having more fun than you guys.
I certainly don't.
Yeah.
I couldn't be having more fun if I dreamed it. I used to always tell my wife, if this is a dream and you wake me up, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
It's been, you guys, of course, the Reeves had, the big run with Mucho Macho Man, and, Randy, you had 15, 18, almost 20 years of mixed success. You had your nice horses.
I did.
But it seems like this year, and you being a little bit of the linchpin between this horse, Tax, and yesterday, Vacoma, all through the winter and through the Bluegrass win, it's just been every horse that you've gotten involved in has produced almost.
Divine Miss Gray, don't forget her.
Divine Miss Gray goes back, that's your tie to Danny.
Yep.
That's how you got involved with Danny. I mean,
Right.
there's a million stories that we can do. Let's start with Tax, though, and just the origins. There was the claim, and how did it all gel?
Well, it's a funny story because Danny, I get involved with Danny when he claimed Divine Miss Gray. The horse went on to win 6 or 7 stakes races. And then Danny called me when he was claiming Tax, and I said, Danny, I've got too many horses. I'm out. So then he ran, I guess he ran third in the, what did he run? Third in the, I forget.
Remsen.
In the Remsen.
Yes.
The Remsen. So I called Danny back and I said, I need to be back in. He said, well, it's not going to be the same $50,000 claim. So I said, hold on, I'll call Dean. We'll come up with something. So that's how we got back in.
Well, and explain, Dean, too, how you guys, the origins of your partnership operations.
Well, coming to Saratoga, I'd walk by Randy's, box where everything that happens in Saratoga happens at that box. And, we just kept seeing each other every day. And so finally we decided to go to dinner. And it was kind of interesting. We found out we had a lot of similarities and I think the same passion. And, it's kind of interesting that when I was about 12 years old, a guy would come by and I'd sell magazines during the afternoons. And a guy would come by the neighborhood. He'd pick up 4 or 5 kids. And he would carry you to another neighborhood, and he'd put you out. You'd go door to door selling magazines.
That's like those gypsy hustlers.
Exactly, and I thought I must have been the only kid still living that ever did that. And so Randy and I are having dinner, and he says, "Oh yeah," he says, "I used to do that."
I sold greeting cards. I sold greeting cards.
So anyway, we found that we had a lot of similarities, a lot of things we did in life, trying to get to this point, and. So he said, let's get some horses together. So the first few that we got together didn't do too well, but we stayed the course.
WV Jet Center.
He was okay. He was okay.
Was he first?
Yeah,
I think he was.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But he was okay, and we kept firing at it and trying, which you got to do. And some of them just didn't pan out. We've bought from Argentina. We've bought now from France and England and all around, but I think we're getting better at it, and finally it's starting to gel.
Or we're getting luckier.
Right. And dumb luck is just so great, and you just don't want to abuse it.
Well, a lot to say for it. I mean, you do, you get lucky. I mean, there's also some power in the numbers. I mean,
you're right.
When you're spreading, and also for you, some people think, well, they're buying ready-made horses, or but I mean, at this point, it's such a proven and established method, and in fact, you've overlapped with a few. I know that you guys have got Adam Wachtel and Gary Barber. You ran in yesterday, Channel Maker. You could have had a
partners.
double.
Great partners. We were close to a double. So
absolutely.
I mean, we got beat about a length for that race, and that's just been a fun horse.
I think it's the story of the game. So there you are. You're the favorite. You're the favorite in Bowling Green. You lose the race. You think you're going to win, and you're like so down. An hour later, you forgot you even ran in the bowling game. Yeah. It's the highs and the lows of this game. I mean, if you're not excited when you win, you shouldn't be in this game because the lows will kill you.
Let's pick them up and then take us through. We'll watch them from the far turn here when Tex takes the lead. War of Will had gotten out there and was setting some, not super fast fractions, 24 and change, 48 and change. But Tex takes the lead on the turn here and then just holds off a determined Tacitus. What was your feeling coming down the lane?
I never thought he'd give it up. I mean, I know this horse, he tries every time. I mean, when I look at this replay, I looked at one point, Tacitus kind of got ahead in front of us, but he picked up another gear here. I mean, he just said, right there, see? And then he says, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was screaming, change your leads. And I don't know why I was saying that, but I couldn't think of anything else to say.
I was screaming, where's the wire? Where's the wire? Change your leads, change your leads. And then once I saw we won, I picked up this chair and I was going to do a Bobby Knight. But I put it back down, fortunately, and Patty gave me a big hug, and so everything went okay from there. Danny tackled me. We ended up on the chair.
So, yeah, it's such a thrill, that last bit when you know it's close, and you see the horse and the jockey fighting to get that last little bit. And I got to tell you, Irad, what a great race. He did a perfect job. And I was so thrilled to see how fired up he was after the race to win that. If you watch that, he was fired up.
Agreed. A couple of things that worked, and I'm sure you've heard and saw the discussion subsequently. I mean, obviously the inside was not the place to be.
Right.
And for those, I hear the silliness about they set the track up so that no, we had a racetrack that actually took rain like they did years ago, that wasn't sealed, and then you had an authentic muddy track that took a day and a half to dry out. And as it does that, you get certain parts of the racetrack that are going to be different. Today, probably, you would think that Glenn Kozak has had a chance, to really groom and even the track out as best he can. But you do recall that we had that rain and the cancellation on Thursday. Then you had, even though it was a beautiful day, we've gotten so used to the sealing of tracks to keep rain out of them. That whole era may be coming to a close, given what transpired at Santa Anita this winter, and this whole discussion about sealing tracks and its negative effect on horses. So a drying out track, I mean, even late into Friday, there was still plenty of moisture and still some mud being kicked up on the track. That's the way it used to be if you've only been playing the game a certain period of time. But the inside was clearly deep, and if anybody that dove down inside, they were doomed, and that happened a little bit to Tacitus, I thought, and Jose Ortiz did it earlier with Al Gold's horse.
Well, all those horses ran a good race. They ran hard. Turning for home, it was anybody's race.
Agreed.
Well, but I think Irad, we're talking about the tracks the way they used to be. Jockeys used to always take advantage of that, and I think Irad knew that, and he certainly wanted that horse on the rail.
Yeah, invite him in a little bit.
Yeah, of course he did. I mean, and a good jockey should do that.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about being prominent owners and obviously racing at various venues around the country. What's it like, and what's it mean to win a race like this up at Saratoga?
Well, it's the dream. I bought two horses. I said, I'm going to race in Saratoga once in my life. I'm going to buy two horses. That's going to be the end. That was 25 years ago, and I don't know how many horses and how much money ago. But I mean, you always talk about, can we win the Jim Dandy? Can you win the People used to say, what do you want to win most? I said, I don't know, probably the Derby, but maybe the Travers. I'm not sure. I mean, this is the place to be. And the great thing about Saratoga is not only the history and the people, but people don't go home after the track. When you're at another track, people go home. Here, you go out to dinner, people are there. I mean, we walked to the Seals last time, we got a standing ovation. It's a chill, It's like you're dreaming all your life this is going to happen. And I'm sitting there going, Christ, it happened.
That's great.
Yeah. You should also note career best fig, 98 Fire. And that puts him, knocks him on the door, looking forward and looking ahead to Travers.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody said to us yesterday, and I didn't think about it, and you guys could agree or disagree, but because the 3-0 division is the way it is, this horse could end up to be the horse of the year. If he goes on, wins the Travers, the Breeders' Cup, he's going to be there. So it's open, and he's getting better.
Well,
I mean, 3-year-old
right.
did he right now?
Yeah, 3-year-old. Yeah.
That's what I meant, 3-year-old.
Well, he's got the race to me that was really impressive, considering what had transpired leading up to the Belmont, where there was real concern about his status, because Danny was fighting a hoof issue,
Right.
that that was taking training time away,
Absolutely.
and then he runs this courageous fourth, beaten 2 lengths in the Belmont, and what can you say? For those that forget the origins, this is a Claiborne Dill Schneider bred that has got all the Claiborne family strength to it. An arch out of a Giants Causeway mare. This is a horse that's a classic type.
As he go long, get better. As a gelding, he should get better as he goes along. And Danny has just done a magnificent job. I don't think Dean and I could say enough about it. He's every move he's made has been right. He skipped the Preakness. When you're a trainer, you're under some pressure from owners because you want to do things. Danny was having none of it, and he did everything right. And he fought through that hoof issue. And I think he got some new shoes. He got some
blue ones,
Blue ones, yeah.
And the horse started to feel better. And then I don't know if you saw his last work, but I looked at last work and I said, Dean, I think
47 flat. That's the 70.
Well, they talk about that being such a great claim. It might be that it's a really great training job
as well.
You can claim a lot of horses, but you got to train them. And Danny, Rachel, and that entire staff have just done a spectacular job with him.
Let's catch up as well. Beside Tax and of course pointing toward Travers, you had already won up here, Dean, City Man.
Thank you.
With Christophe Clement and the Searles, Pete and Patty Searle.
Right.
And what else? So a channel maker we talked about. Shippy. You had Shippy in the
Schuylerville
opening day.
Yeah.
And ran all right.
She had she was inside in the mud and all that, and had a tough trip. So it was a gutsy performance by her to get beat a length, maybe 3/4 of a length. So she's doing really well, and we'll come back later with her.
We thought if we'd have scratched out of that and run against the boys, I think we would have won. I think she would have won that race.
It's an interesting. You know what? You might not be wrong. The pull of Wesley Ward. That's a Wesley trick.
Actually, right.
Dean, with Tango Uniform Racing, you've got another Clement, Feel Glorious. We saw win the Memories of Silver, or late spring, and waiting for an assignment. And I know she's working up here.
Yeah, she had a really nice work yesterday.
Okay.
We've got a list out that Christoph and I are talking about, but she'll run, I believe, based off of our conversation this morning, looks like here at Saratoga. Next, maybe in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And don't forget Hotsy Totsy.
Yeah.
Also ran third over
Sandringham.
Sandringham
What a great trip we had. I don't know if you've ever been to Ascot, but it's spectacular.
Well, we saw
it's
the
unbelievable.
It's
unbelievable.
I sent them to everybody.
We saw the picture.
Did you guys wear the?
You have to.
Oh yeah,
you have to.
I couldn't get under the door, but
Exactly.
with the top hat.
I told him to look like Abraham Lincoln.
I was going to say, if you had a beard, they would have taken you for Lincoln.
Yeah, they would have. So it was really.
She's going to run in a risky appearance.
Very nice, and always misbehaving.
Nice into mischief. He got a lot out of that race yesterday, and hopefully we'll get him back in for the meets out and a little bit further distance.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Well, and we're not done. They got more. It's unbelievable.
We
today.
got that bluegrass replay. If you want to
see for some Vekoma,
go back and take a look at
Actually,
that one.
and this is fun because Vekoma became a cause celeb of sorts with his crazy action, with the paddling motion. Watch that left front, and you got a big kick out of it.
She doesn't do this he doesn't do this when he works.
No, it's only when he's all out. And people were just aghast. Nobody wanted to believe that that he could stay sound and that he could not. This is the bluegrass, but
Then he ran great.
When are we going to see him?
December. He caught a quarter. It was worse than we thought. He's a young horse. He wasn't 3 till the Preakness, and he lost some weight training. He caught the quarter. And George said, let's give him a little time off. We're running back in the stakes in December. George did a great job with this horse. We were up here in Saratoga, partners with the Gatzes, and we wanted this horse to run up here. And we said, "Come on, George." And George said, "Listen, I got a good horse. No, you guys leave me alone. I'll tell you when horses are going to run." So I said to Mike, let's shut up and let the guy we paid do his job. So that horse is a very, very good.
Talk about the two today. You mentioned Matt Gatsis and the Gatsis family. You're in with 3 jokers in the opener today. John Terranova trains. This is a first-time starter, a twirling candy colt. Did get the rail and has to run against some horses with experience. But I thought, based on some of the work tab notes, looked okay.
Looks pretty good. If we were in the 1 hole, I'd be very, very confident. But this horse is going to run well.
3 jokers, the 1 in the first, and then you got to wait all afternoon for the nightcap as well. A first-timer in the nightcap. These are state-bred maiden 40s. You got the Freud filly, Deja Raconte, with Danny Gargan, and this one also looks live.
He looks all right. She's a nice filly. I like her. She can be a little crazy at times, and that you can lose a race when it happens. But if she doesn't win today, she's going to be nice down the road.
Well, and that one you bought at OBS March last year,
yeah.
And because these are 3 and ups, not 2-year-olds. The first race is 2-year-olds, but Andy Bednall bred this, and Bednall breeds a nice horse. He's got a nice brood
She's
mare.
a nice filly. She really is.
Well, always for you, when you guys win, it's always entertaining, and it's always fun.
There's a great picture. Dean and I give each other a high five, and Danny's off the air behind us. He's got somebody's arms. I'm going to frame that and put it in my office.
I got a good one of you as well yesterday, leading them in. And
J.J. Fletcher used to say, Randy, when you win a race, everybody at the track knows.
Exactly. Exactly.
If you're not excited, what are we doing this for?
Yeah, that's true.
I see people that win in grade 1, they walk down there like they're going down to get breakfast. I'm like, geez, man. Get happy, get excited, get crazy.
Yeah.
So, the other guy you should bring in, you want that kind of excitement? Al Gold, who comes down the stairs like, like a absolute, waving and
I think it's enough with the 2 of us. I think we're okay here.
We were excited to say the least, and because it was the Jim Dandy,
and ran a terrific race, and most importantly feels like he's moving forward again.
Oh.
He came out of the race great.
Well, because you don't know. The 3-year-old first half of the year, the whole Triple Crown grind, you don't know how much you get chewed up. Speaking of horses and keeping track, Mucho Macho Man on the stud career, solid start. I mean, it's not super splashy, but getting winners, and what's the status?
He's just doing fabulous, I think. I mean, you're talking stakes horses on turf, stakes horses on dirt. He's getting the numbers. He's getting solid winners. And we had a nice crop this past year. We were close to a little over 85, I think, 85, 86, something like that. And so he's getting there, but he's throwing some nice foals. They're runners. And I couldn't be any happier with what he's done so far.
Haven't looked in the catalog for the yearling sale. Any in the sale?
Not a one.
No, huh? All right.
They're going to be hard to find. He had a short, maybe 35 foals that 3rd year. So this go round, there's not many yearlings out there.
So this
is where there's that gap.
Right.
And I went and bought a lot of weanlings by him last year. So we've got a few at TaylorMade.
Nice. So you'll see them next year as 2-year-olds.
So we'll have them.
Well, and that they say that, I mean, when we talk pedigree and sales with Sid Fernando on the radio, the 3rd crop, that's the toughest one. And if you make it through that and out the other side.
Well, I mean, I think he's back and going up, and people have seen that they're getting runners, and the breeders are coming back.
Nice.
So
nice.
Doing great.
Dean Reeves and the wives. We didn't give the wives credit.
They hold the whole thing together.
Well, that's for sure. We know that.
So,
somebody said to my wife, they said, "So are you enjoying it?" She goes, "This year I am."
The years when you're kicking the cat is not as
this year it's okay that I'm buying horses. Other years it's not so okay.
Well,
Patty says I don't have a gambling habit. I have a horse buying habit.
That's worse.
That's accurate. Can't thank you enough. And
Thank you.
couldn't be
Oh,
happier.
thank you for
Yeah,
having us.
thanks for
It's
having us.
great.
Great to be here.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it
guys.
as always.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
We
Thank
look
you.
forward to another big celebration in the Winner's Circle 4 weeks down the road.
Let's do it.
Let's
We'll be
do it.
here. Yeah.
Randy Hill and Dean Reeves, and earlier Pete Fornatale and Louis Carvajal this morning on Loose on the Lead. Seth?
We'll wrap it up for this edition of Loose on the Lead. We're here every Sunday morning from 10 until 11 a.m. or somewhere thereabouts, as we're a little later today. But plenty to talk about after the big day yesterday. Don't forget low rollers today. I always want to tout that because it's a lot of fun. Jump in and play the low rollers.
And in the Beat Pick Challenge, this is
I gotta
feeder
jump
number
in.
4. Feeder number 4 today. Yesterday I used the Bowling Green. I went with Sadler's Joy, and I haven't seen how many people picked Channel Cat, which would have been a pretty high risk kind of a selection. Today I went with the Amsterdam. I'm taking Nitrous, but this is a contentious group.
Oh, absolutely.
In the Amsterdam today.
12 that you can make a case for 7 of them. All right, we'll wrap it up for this edition of Loose on the Lead. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Sunday morning at 10 a.m.
From the backstretch at Saratoga, this is Loose on the Lead with Steve Byk and Seth Merrow. Loose on the Lead is sponsored by Thoroughgraph. Everything you need to win. Visit thoroughgraph.com. The new Colonial Downs and the Virginia Equine Alliance. Hill and Dale, home of perennial standouts, Curlin, Kitten's Joy, Midnight Loot, and emerging stallions, Violence, Bayern, and Army Mule. Visit hillanddalefarms.com for consignments at the 2019 yearling sales. Case Supply, the kitchen and bath professionals across upstate New York. Showrooms in Syracuse, Auburn, and Amsterdam. Make your dream kitchen and bath a reality. Visit CaseSupplyInc.com. And McMahon of Saratoga, standing breakout stallion Central Banker. #1 in New York and among the nation's leading young sires. Visit McMahonThoroughbred.com.